Hi, this is Mike Smullen, Executive Director of Alumni Relations at New Jersey Institute of Technology, and I'm very happy to welcome you to our new Highlander Chat. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Haro Hartounian, Senior Vice President at New Jersey Innovation Institute, to join us today. Welcome, Haro.
Thank you so much, Mike, for the invitation. I'm looking forward to this interview.
My pleasure. So, Haro, the first thing that I always like to do, especially in this time, is how are you doing? How's your family doing?
Thanks for asking. Everyone's doing fine, wearing masks in public and observing social distancing. So
Excellent.
everyone's fine. Thank you so much for asking.
That's great. Well, I think that's probably an apropos lead-in to our discussion today because, of course, one of your big areas of focus at NJII is biotech and so on. So I think we're going to get into that in a minute or two, and masks will probably play into that. But why don't we start with the basics? So NJII, as I know you know, but our audience may not, is the New Jersey Innovation Institute. Now, my understanding of NJII, and it comprises so much, is that it connects industry and academic expertise, and basically it advances innovation to the benefit of New Jersey. Is that a fair description? I know it's not comprehensive.
Well, it is a fair description with some additions. New Jersey Innovation Institute's Biopharma Division connects more than biopharma industry with academic experts. It also adds the technology developers, equipment providers, digital experts, and regulatory agencies like FDA and European EMEA to the mix. The innovation ecosystem in biopharma is very complex, and we have to consider so many avenues of impact that you cannot decide anything in isolation. For example, we just formed our technical advisory board, and we have C-level people from biopharma industry, technology developers. We have Dr. Peter Marks, who's the director of CBER at FDA, sits on our board. So we have a variety of people that covers the biopharma ecosystem at NJII Biopharma Division.
Okay. So, Haro, one of the areas that you really particularly focus on is biotech and pharmaceutical.
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously is part of this bigger picture of NJII. What is the scope and what's the goal of what you're working on particularly?
That's a very good question. The biopharma division is focused on serving as a platform for innovation in the field of cell and gene therapy, products manufacturing. This area of biotechnology is evolving so rapidly, and that even the big pharma and big pharma and regulatory bodies are constantly looking for neutral institutions like ours to help them in process development, workforce development, and clinical production. So we have recently launched our Cell and Gene Therapy Development Center, Biocentric, and it's a state-of-the-art facility. Thanks to Dr. Bloom for providing the funding to build this facility. We have the capabilities of doing process development, clinical manufacturing. This center is equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment, controlled access, ISO 7 GMP suites for manufacturing, and BSL2 suites for process development. We engaged in sponsored project as well as fee for services, and that enables rapid growth of the new scale-up and manufacturing technology at our center.
So, Haro, you mentioned the cutting-edge facilities, among a number of other things. And of course, you also mentioned Dr. Bloom, president of NJIT. I wonder, what's the level of connection that you've got with the school, and particularly, I would imagine, with the College of Science and Liberal Arts, where a lot of the natural partnership here would be housed?
That's another good question. I work very closely with Dean Belfield. Him and I, we jointly launched, for the first time in the country, launched the Cell and Gene Therapy Development Sciences Master's Program at his college. And we're in the process of recruiting students. So I'm also an affiliated faculty at that college, and I work very closely. I think the objective of our division, really, I want to make sure that the faculty gets involved. I want to make sure that we bring our students and train them in this field. I want to make sure that we expand the concept of regenerative medicine at NJIT. And I think that Dr. Belfield has been very supportive. And also Provost Fadi Dick has been extremely supportive of this concept of getting faculty engaged, students engaged in what we're doing at our center. So I'm very optimistic and I'm very encouraged that the future is bright. I think we're going to have our faculty and students to be very active at our center. And I'm going to do the same thing with the College of Engineering and get their faculty and students involved in our center. That has been my goal, and I really enjoy interacting with the the faculty members and students.
So speaking of enjoyment, you must really like what you do. And I say that because when I was reading about all the different things you've done, I found it fascinating. You started out, I believe, at DuPont as a research engineer. Then you went into, it looks like almost a dozen different companies since then, from giants like Monsanto to these late stage biotech companies. This is something you're passionate about. And I wonder, when you looked at NJII before you joined, what was it about NJII and the mission there that drew you to take what you've been doing for your whole life and start contributing there?
Well, I always enjoy challenges. I think if I don't face challenges, I get bored. So my career, I've been so lucky and fortunate to working in big pharma, and then going to the mid-sized companies and also launch companies by my own. So I've learned a lot, and I still am in the process of learning. On a daily basis, I learn from people and from interacting with the companies and everything else. So I enjoy doing that. Biotech is unbelievably been very good to me, and I've learned a lot. My passion is really to make things happen in the field. If you look at my career, I've worked in the big pharma, but also when I launched those companies, I worked on very challenging concepts. For example, treatment of diabetes. The two companies that I launched, they were focused on developing therapies for type 1 diabetes, which is very challenging. When I joined NJII, I really felt the gap and the need to launch a center like this. This center is a state-of-the-art center, and I felt that by doing so, we can actually attract industry. As you know, New Jersey is the hub for biopharmaceutical companies. But I felt that NJIT can do better, and by launching a center like this, we can attract those companies, and we have. For example, we have been working with big pharma companies here in New Jersey, and also we're expanding our network now, going to California and Midwest. So I think I enjoy doing this, and I think this center that we launched is something that I'm very excited, and I believe that it's going to be very successful. So
it sounds like you came to NJII for this impact. Like you said, you don't want to be bored. I don't think that's a concern. Certainly not at this point. But you have so much that's going on there. It was actually sort of challenging to boil down how we structure some of our questions. So for instance, Hackensack Meridian, I know, has been an enormous investor in NJII, but you have dozens, if not hundreds, of other investments. Those have to produce something, right? So brass tacks. When you have that much going on and that much to do, how does your division translate investments into tangible results, and what are some of those results that you might point to say, yeah, we got it done?
Right. So while we have received large number of state-of-the-art equipment from world's technology leaders like Paul Biotech and others, the active support from several C-suite executives who may or may not be seen in our technical advisory boards is phenomenal. I can't mention the names because of the confidentiality, but I think their support and trust in our ability to launch the Biocentric Center is unbelievable. We have been working with 2 of the top 10 biopharma companies to train their manufacturing in the area of cell and gene therapy. We have trained close to hundreds of employees there. The 3rd company within the top 10 league is about to start their workforce development relationship with us. We have already completed 2 process development projects for 2 late-stage startup to help them move closer to the IND filing. We have conducted several industry roundtables to highlight the challenges and the potential solutions for commercialization of their novel cell and gene therapy products. And we're in discussion with multiple companies for several process development, clinical supply, manufacturing projects. I can assure you that within the next 2 or 3 years, you would hear about some of the most innovative medicines in the industry pipelines that have, in one way or another, developed and produced at our center.
So I've got to say kudos to you and your team for that. And I love the fact that NJIT and NJII are having this real impact on the world due to those efforts. That's, it brings meaning and I think pride to all of the universities, certainly, and certainly alumni at large. I will notice, so you've talked a couple times about the cell and gene therapy. And I know that the cell and gene therapy has been one of the largest, one of the most well-funded, some of the most effective centers at NJII, certainly in the last 2 years. When I think of cell and gene therapy, the thing that I hear in the news a lot, and I'm a layman in this area, I think of cancer treatments. I think of some experimental technology. I'm sure that I'm doing a disservice to the grand scope of what that accomplishes. So, if you're speaking to the general public and they know what I know, what would you say cell and gene therapy is doing in a broader sense, or maybe something that we don't know but probably should?
Well, yes, you're right. The cancer treatment is what comes to people's mind when we talk about cell and gene therapy. However, this unique approach is also being tested for the most difficult to treat, for example, neurological diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS. It's also being tested for severe acute pain to replace opioid, for example, and even treat patients with COVID-19 infection. So it has a huge potential. I believe that regenerative medicine will address some of the challenges that we've been facing the last 30 years in medicine, and I think has a huge potential. And that's why I believe Biocentric can play a very important role working with the companies to develop and manufacture their product and help them to commercialize. So to answer your question, absolutely, it has a huge potential, not only in cancer, but also other diseases.
On a personal level, I have to say that's really exciting to hear. You've lived in the world, I've lived in the world. You hear the same things, Alzheimer's. You hear about the same diseases that affect all of us. And it almost seems like progress is there, but we don't hear about it, we don't know it, we don't see it. So the idea that there's something really concrete happening here is really inspiring. So if you've been watching our Highlander chats religiously, which I'm sure you do, and I'm sure everyone in the world does because they're so riveting and fascinating, you would have seen some of my interviews that I had done with Mark Bagarazzi, who was the former CMO of Inomio Pharmaceutical, Joanne Saida, who's the Chief Digital Officer at Omnicom Health Group, Robert Cohen, CTO at Stryker Orthopedic. We have a lot of alumni, 70,000 alive, living alumni around the world, and about 40 to 50,000 of those are within concentric circles outside of this area. So if you were speaking with one of them and they said, hey, look, what can we do? How can we contribute in some way that's going to be beneficial to you and the work you're doing? What would you tell them?
My first reaction would be the doors are open. The doors for Biocentric are open for the alumni and the students to come and work with us and help us bring projects, bring opportunities, be a part of the success that we're having. And I have just hired an NJIT graduate as an intern. I like to bring NJIT folks, and that's what I'm doing with Kevin, for example, Dean Belfield, that my goal is to train our students, and when they graduate, they can come and work in our center. And the same thing with the folks that are outside the NJIT. If they are in the biotech industry, they work in the biotech industry or pharma industry, we would welcome them to come and work with us and help us and advise us and bring projects. So that would be my response to your question.
All right, so I'm going to take that as a clarion call. All of the alumni out there who are watching this, the door is open. You just heard it here. Come on back, check out what's going on and some of the research here, and we have just the person that we can get you to talk to.
That's right.
All right, so Haro, here's what I love doing, and I always throw this in at the end or towards the end of interviews. I will let you know some of your antecedents here have been Dr. Bloom, who had a special announcement. We had the Vice Provost for Research, Tom Dewan. Lots of people like tossing out kind of fun tidbits that we didn't know before. Do you have something that's in the hopper or something really special that you would love to tell our alumni about?
I just want to honestly. I come from industry. I'm not academic person, but one thing I want to tell is that I really have enjoyed working at NJIT, and my interactions with Dr. Bloom, Provost Deek, Dr. Kevin Belfield, Don Sebastian, our CEO Simon Nimes, all those people. It has been very fun to work with, and I think NJIT is getting to a different phase. I think this university is going to be very successful, and by doing stuff like I just mentioned, biocentric and expanding into different areas, I think my special announcement, is that come and help us. And help us, our university, to grow bigger and better for future of our students, our family, and our country. So that's would be my announcement.
Okay, I love it. Couldn't have said it better. All right, so I really want to thank you very much. Again, this is Haro Hartounian, Senior Vice President, Biotechnology and Pharmaceutical Innovation. And I should add also PhD there as well. Haro has been a leader and continues to lead the efforts of biotech and pharma innovation at NJII, the New Jersey Innovation Institute at New Jersey Institute of Technology. Haro, thanks again very much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So this has been our latest Highlander chat with Dr. Haro Hartounian, again, Senior Vice President at New Jersey Innovation Institute. I'm Mike Smallman, Executive Director of Alumni Relations at the New Jersey Institute of Technology Alumni Relations Office. We have more than 70,000 alumni around the globe. We have more than 50,000 alumni in the greater New York, New Jersey area, and I hope every one of you will engage back with your alma mater. I want to offer my best wishes to you and your family for a safe and healthy end of the summer at this point. I look forward to connecting with you again soon. And last but not least, go Highlanders.